first example to make a box and whisker plot is it's asking us to make a box and whisker plot for the numbers of text messages received over several days. And we have our list of data below. First thing that we're going to have to do is we need to organize the data from smallest to largest. So I look at my data, and I noticed 11 is the smallest, so I'm just going to rewrite my data. 11, put a little X underneath it so I don't duplicate it. I have 18, and then I have nothing else with a 1 as the tens place. So I'm going to jump to 2 as the tens place, and I have 21, and then 28, and I had 24. So actually 28, 24 has to go before 28. Okay, so now I have all the 20s written. And now I'm going to jump to anything with a 3 in the tens place. And I start with 32 is the next smallest. Then 33. And then 37. And then it looks like I got all the 30s. And now I got 40. 4 is the tens place. So I have 40 and then 42. And I always want to go back and double check, do I have all the numbers? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers here. So I know that I should, for the most part, have all of the data in my organized. So now I have to look at my 5-number summary. Okay? I know that I'm going to deal with the lowest and the highest number, and that's really when I have to take my number line and plot it. I look at what number is the lowest and the highest. And so my first number that I'm going to deal with is the lowest, which is 11. And then my highest number is 42. And when I organize the data from smallest to largest, which I have to do to find the median anyway, it's really easy to find the lowest and the highest from that number set. So I'm going to go ahead and number my number line, knowing that I have to include 11 and 42, because the median will be in the middle of those. The Q1 will be between those, and so will Q3. So I'm going to go ahead and decide, let's go ahead and start with 10. And I'm going to go ahead and count by 5s, but instead of counting by 5s, I'm going to skip count. So I know this would be 15, and then I'm going to count 20. 25, but instead of writing it, I'm going to write 30. I'm still counting by 5s, but I'm only labeling every other. 35, and then 40, 45, and then 50, 55, and then 60. And now I have enough room to include all the numbers that I'm going to need for my data set. I also want to make sure that I label my box and whisker plot with the units. So I know we're talking about text messages. So on the side of the number line, I'm going to write text messages so that the people that are reading my box and whisker plot know that the data that I took from to make the box and whisker plot referred to text messages. All right? And now I'm going to go ahead and find the third number, which is the median. So to find the median, it's the middle. I cross off the high and the low and the high, the low and the high, the low and the high. And in this case, I have 2 numbers left, so I know the median is going to be right directly between those two. I'm drawing a line for my median, because neither 28 or 32 is my median. It's between those. So to find the median, I have to take the average. I have to take 28 plus 32 and divide it by 2. And 28 plus 32 is simply 60, and half of 60 is 30. So my median is 30. Okay, that's going to be the important number for my box and whisker plot. Now that I have the median, I can go ahead and I can find the middle of the lower half, or Q1. So the lower half is from 11 to 28. 28 is included because 28 is not the middle. It's not the median. 30 was. The little line was. So I'm going to cross this off. Low, high, low, high. And in this case, I actually have only one number in the middle, which means 21 is my Q1, or my first quartile. So I'm going to go ahead and mark down here, Q1 is 21. And then I'm going to go ahead and I have to find the middle of the upper half. Well, the upper half is from 32 to 42. So I go low, high, and I'm left with one number in the middle, which is 37, so I don't have to take an average. So that's my Q3, or the middle of the upper half. So I'm going to write Q3 is 37. Now that I have all this data, I'm going to go ahead and create my box and whisker plot. So I'm actually going to pull this data down here. We're going to need these numbers, but I want to create my box and whisker plot. So above the number line, I'm going to put 5 dots. I'm going to put a dot at every single one of the 5 locations. Okay? The first dot is going to be at 11. Well, 11 is going to be between 10 and 15, closer to 10. So I'm going to go to put a dot. But because it's not exactly on 11, above the line, I'm actually going to write down what number it is so that people that are reading it know this is 11 and it's not 11 and a half or 12. Okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and put a dot at 42, so I'm going to go at 40. I'm going to go almost halfway between 40 and 45, but a little bit closer to 40. I'm going to put a dot, and then above it I'm going to write 42. Get in the habit of labeling the dots, especially if they're not landing right on the data. Median, I'm going to go ahead and put a dot at 30, and then above it I'm going to put 30, 21, and then above it I'm writing 21. And then the last one is 37, so between 35 and 40, a little closer to 35, and I'm going to write 37. So I have my 5 dots drawn. And now here's where I get my box and my whisker. The whisker is from the lowest number to Q1. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a box. And I'm going to connect the middle 3 dots. And there's a line that goes through the median. So it looks like a big box connecting Q1 to Q3, and then I separate the box into 2 rectangles, sometimes squares, depending on what centered it is, separating that box. I'm going to draw this a little bit better. Okay, and then from the Q3 to the highest number, I'm going to create my next whisker. So it looks like I have a box in the middle with a whisker coming off each side. If you look closely and you get creative, you can maybe see kind of a cat face where the nose is there and they only have one poor little whisker on each side. Okay? But you have your box in the middle connecting the Q1, the median, and the Q3, and then a whisker connecting to the highest and the lowest values. This is your box and whisker plot.